we're going to sketch the angle in standard position and what angle is coterminal to it and in which quadrant does the terminal side lie. Now, what do all these words mean? Well, let's look at this picture. This is called your initial side. So for each of these, that's your initial side right there. And we're going to find an angle going to a side out here. This is called your terminal side. You see right there. So we're going to be given this angle or this angle and find the other one. Now, can you see this word negative side and positive side? Well, what it's saying is that pink angle is always going to be the positive side. The one that goes underneath is always the negative side. So if you look at these problems, you see how we're given two positives, a negative and a positive? Do you see these are what we're given? So you might be given the blue arc or the pink arc, and you are finding the other one. Now both angles together are called coterminal because they both create a terminal side. They're angles that come together to hit this terminal ending side. And they're co meaning together, working together to make it. So what are both of these angles always going to add up to? Think about that. 360. Can you tell it'd be 360? If this side and this angle, well, the whole circle is 360, so it's pretty obvious, hopefully, that they always, coterminals add up to 360. And then we also are going to label the quadrant. So hopefully you can see the quadrant 1's labeled, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go by quadrants and label that. So it's a pretty kind of, hopefully a straightforward question. So let's show you what this would kind of look like. If we're going to graph the first one, 70 degrees, so 70 degrees, hopefully you know that this is 90 degrees. So won't 70 be a little bit smaller or shorter than 90? So we're going to stick that on there. I'm going to kind of put a line about 70 degrees. And then I'm going to do is I'm going to label it. Well, 70 degrees, since it's positive, are we okay, is this part. Hopefully you can tell that to be 70 degrees. All right. And the other one, aren't we trying to find the angle on the outside, which would be a negative? So if I want this other angle, ooh, that was terrible, ugly. The red angle, well, are you okay that 70 plus something should equal 360? Now, what's the easiest way to find 70 plus something is 360? Isn't it basically we're going to subtract? Can I simply go with, 360 minus 70, would that give me my other coterminal angle, my other one that make 360 together? And when you subtract them, hopefully you see this is 290. So the other angle is going to be 290 degrees. Negative 290 degrees. We're just learning terminology. This is our angle. This is our other angle, our negative. We have a positive and negative. And they are coterminal, together creating 360. And the other question in the problem, it says what quadrant. So hopefully you can tell by looking, it's in the right, upper right, which is called quadrant. I'm going to put Q. You don't need to write quadrant. It's Q1, quadrant 1. And that is the basic idea of what we're dealing with in this section. Now for this one, we're going to start with 300 degrees. So let's go around 300 degrees. So this would be 90, 180. What's 180 plus 90? 270 and a little bit more. So it'd be somewhere down there. There'd be about 300 degrees. So that's 300. And then so the opposite angle that creates coterminal, so together they're coterminal angles. That one, so what plus 300 gives you 360? 60, but make sure it's 90 degrees. Remember? It always goes, when you're going the opposite direction, it's negative. So it's negative 60 degrees. So 300 plus 60 is 360, and it's negative when it goes the opposite direction. And for quadrant, you should notice this is quadrant 4. All right. The next one here, negative 100 degrees means I'm going to go this way 100 degrees. Now, if that's 90 to there, isn't 100 just a teeny bit farther? So it's going to be somewhere down there. So you're going to go, that is negative 100 degrees. And then I go the opposite for my coterminal angle. Together, they should add up to 360. So what plus 100 gives you 360? 260. So this should be 260. Together, they add up to 180. I'm sorry, 360. They add up to 360. And what quadrant is that angle in? You should tell it's in quadrant 3. Now the last one's a little bit trickier, again, because 500 is over 360. So you're going to go all the way around once and then keep going. So watch, you're going to go around all the way around once. It starts looking like a seashell. So I went around 360. Now how much more do I need to get to 500? Can you tell it's 140? So 140 is, okay, that's 90. So 140 is 50 more, right? It's going to go maybe to right there or something. Does that look about 140? Now, 500 just creates your terminal side. Now kind of ignore that spiral. Let's look at the two angles that make up 360. So ignore the 500. The 500 would kind of confuse 360. So we're going to look at the two coterminal angles that created that green terminal side. So let's first look at this one. What is that angle going to be? Well, we said it earlier, isn't it 140? And the other side is this angle, which what plus 360 gives you 140? It is 220. But which one's negative? The 220. Because whenever you come from the bottom side, it is a negative degree. Together those add up to 360. The 500 just becomes kind of a way to get your terminal side. The arrow is called your terminal side from the description right here. See terminal side right here? And then our last thing, quadrant, well that would be quadrant 2.